So I'm still going to read it despite having listened to that, because I think this will summarise what you will want us to say, and we're going to put it on record. So my name is Veronica Green.
Veronica, could you speak?
Well, I want them to hear. I'm sorry to put my back to you, but I want them to hear, because these are the important people. Many villagers have already commented repeatedly to the consortium and on the South Norfolk planning document about the nightmare traffic conditions that already exist at peak times at both ends of the village, at the Eastern A47 roundabout and the Longwater A47 roundabout. Every rush hour, the Longwater junction is completely gridlocked because of inept planning and reneging on the Queen's Hill proposed development plans. It only takes a minor traffic incident for everything to grind to a halt for many hours, even preventing the ambulance service from attending 999 calls on time. A typical example was on Friday the 16th of January, when there was a single vehicle breakdown on the Dereham Road near Lodge Farm, the neighbouring major new housing development that is currently under construction, resulting in complete gridlock of the entire area and needing police control. And indeed, just last Friday the 13th of February, the incident on the A47 resulted in standstill throughout the west of Norwich, even up to Taverham. The current proposals do not have any measures that are likely to improve this, and clearly 907 new houses will only compound the situation. The consortium estimates there will be an extra 1,350 cars. However, in reality, going by College Heights, the most recently built development in Easton, we suspect it will be closer to 1,800 to 2,000 more cars, as our survey has revealed that virtually every dwelling has at least 2 cars, if not more, which is a reflection of the way of living in Norfolk and the poor, limited public transport options. We must also consider the impact of 495 new homes at Lodge Farm, another 1,000 more cars, 3,000 plus homes still to go in at Queen's Hill, another further 600 cars, plus the second phase of the Hamptons, which gives approximately 4,000 more cars in the immediate area. And what about the massive traffic from the huge new next door? The A47 has also seen many fatalities in the local area. Surely the additional volume of both construction traffic and residents' movements, plus the traffic from a proposed food hub, will make the already horrendous situation untenable. Our opinion is that the road network needs serious improvement before any further development is considered. So the Eastern residents' questions are, what measures will be put in place? I hear what you say, I'm going to say highways, but I hear what you said about the different local, anyway. What measures will be put in place by highways prior to any further new housing to prevent incidents on local or major roads causing these dire problems? When are the Longwater Junction problems going to be resolved with proper pedestrian paths and crossings so that we can walk the 1 mile from Easton to Sainsbury's without the risk of being killed? Why are there no clear plans for a second road in and out of Queen's Hill when it is so obviously needed? And I would also like to question you later in the agenda item on surveys, although you have brought it up now, regarding an unrealistic traffic survey relating to Dereham Road and the Longwater Junction, which concludes that it will be safe to cross Dereham Road outside the showground without a pedestrian crossing, when the report estimates there will be 1 car every 4 seconds. Yet the report estimates the 7 metre wide crossing will take 8 seconds to cross.
Can I just answer something? I keep popping up, but I've got bits and pieces of information. When the planning application for Queen's Hills was agreed at South Norfolk, there was an exit at the back, at the far end, and it came out Taverham and Broadland. But Broadland District Council and Taverham Parish Council objected, and when the inspector from National came down and looked at it. He sided with them and decided that the traffic should not go that way. So when it was passed, there was another way out. Now, it's not that we're not doing anything. Working with Cossey Parish District and County Councillors, we do have regular meetings with them and the highways. We keep talking, these parish councillors will tell you so, we keep talking about how we're going to get another road in to Queen's Hills, preferably from the Easton Church roundabout end at the moment. And we were talking about having a public meeting, but it's been put on abeyance for a minute. At the moment, the highways officers, they are suggesting a road that comes in about halfway up Dereham Road, goes across some wasteland behind the Murph and comes to the bottom of the Sainsbury's Hill, if you know where I mean.
Yeah, full roundabout.
Yeah, so they're suggesting that. And we have been jumping up and down and saying that's no good because the Dereham Road is already chocker with traffic. So bringing it in and out that way, and the highways officers were not this highways officer, it's the county council, my people at county council, they're not listening at the moment, and we're trying to make them listen. So it's not that we don't understand, because we do know what the problems are, and we are trying to solve some of these problems between us. But the fact that you are behind us saying the same thing is going to help a lot. So I'll just say that.
Can I ask, please, sorry, can I just ask, how come Queen's Hills was allowed to start building then? How come the planning was passed? Sorry, how come the planning at Queen's Hills was passed, which is part of South Norfolk, when that second exit was not actually agreed? When that's how it was agreed it should be, how come South Norfolk agreed to that?
Council and your
No, we're talking about South Norfolk agreed the planning application for those houses to be built, and that second exit never materialised, so that's slightly
I'll
going
pass
back.
the mic to Simon in a minute, but just to be sure that the councillor, thanks for bringing that up. I mean, I have been aware of that, but clearly I'm not Norfolk County Council and didn't feel that I could really say what they're considering. They're considering all sorts of things for the Longwood Junction. Yeah. Some of those things involve Queen's Hill as well. But just as a parting thought, whilst you're clearly aware that the Dereham Road and pedestrian crossing is not my bag, again it's Norfolk County Council, and I know incidents are a huge issue, but this is what I'm saying, you know, the road network is quite delicate. At peak times it's probably operating slightly above its capacity and things get very unstable. But just because the road is bigger, doesn't necessarily mean that an incident can happen and not cause gridlock. And just by way of an example, I mean, I'm not saying you're wrong, but and it's a consideration, but just as an example, late last week there was an accident on the M1 just south of between Tollington and Milton Keynes. 6 lanes, or probably 8 lanes because they've got hard shoulder running, both directions were closed all day. So just to say that, you know, it doesn't matter how big the road is, if something happens that stops it working, it will stop dead, whether it's because of a clear-up or a breakdown or whatever it is. So the size of the road is about capacity on the assumption that nobody's broke down in it or nobody's had an accident. That's just as a thought for you, if you see what I mean. Because you were suggesting, I thought, that the roads were big enough because when people have accidents it all comes to a standstill. I'm afraid that that's what happens.
The roads aren't suitable for the amount of developments that have been allowed to be passed in this area.
Right, well, which is why, when developments are proposed, we consider all those traffic demonstrations and the assessments that go into it.
Well, I don't think you have considered, because if you read the planning and you read the surveys, I don't like to use the word dodgy, but that's a simple word.
Well, that's the reason why we vet them and look at them and see whether they are reasonable and right
just
and logical.
If you simply look at that example that I read out, it's nonsense.
Okay, thank you. Simon, Queen's Hill.
Just responding to the lady here, I think as Margaret has already said, the original proposals for Queen's Hill did include an exit near where the new community centre has just been built. That proposal was considered by a planning inspector as part of our last local plan, so our 2003 local plan. That planning inspector, on advice from Norfolk County Council as the Highways Authority, accepted that a single access to what at that time was, I think, 1,400 houses was acceptable. That then makes it very difficult for us when a planning application comes in. If a planning inspector and the county council as our highways advisor has already said it's okay, and I think it's fair to say that as a district council, as Queen's Hills has gradually increased in size, we've questioned that all the way along. Is it still appropriate to have a single access? And the county council have said that it is. In exceptional circumstances, I've certainly been involved in a planning application where we've been very convinced that we need a second opinion. So in exceptional circumstances, we will get a second opinion from a planning transport consultant. But as I say, normally we will accept, as they are the specialists in this, the county council's view. I think second thing I'd just like to say is it may be worth people looking at the county council's website, because there is a document on there which myself, Joe, Roger have all been involved in sort of preparing, which is about the Longwater and Easton junctions. It's actually been prepared by consultants for the county council. So if you go into the county's website and put Longwater into the search, it comes up as the first thing on there, and it's a document that looks at all the possible interventions in the Longwater and Easton junctions to help alleviate the problems from existing and future development, and it also suggests certain sort of packages of measures that could be put forward. So that's where the scheme that Margaret was referring to, if you want to see what that scheme is and why certain schemes have been at this stage accepted or not, I'd suggest you look at that. It's not the most riveting of reads, but it's there if you want to look at it.
Stand up and say who you are as well, please.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Can you hear me? Can you hear me? Okay. My question is to Margaret Dewsbury herself. Actually, I'm glad. Yep. Nice to see you here, Margaret. As a resident of Easton, I'm interested to hear what your stance is as our elected district councillor and county council, of course, in respect to the Easton development. So I'm actually interested to hear what your views are, and I'm just going to go through one or two pieces before we come to your response on that. I've been through some of the small print, and I'm more about facts as opposed to assumptions about what the roads may or may not be. But the fact remains that every single person who lives in this village will be affected by noise or pollution. That is a fact, because there'll be 2,000 plus vehicle movements every single day in this village. So wherever you live, it will happen to you. The fact is the school is likely to increase by twice, if not 3 times the amount, with a very small land allocated that. The money for the roads, if you look at the Norfolk County Council's recent minutes in January and February, I think you'll find that there's no more money allocated to road improvement. And that means these roads here, because we are in Norfolk, so I can't see where we're going to get the improvements to slow down traffic, reduce traffic volume, etc. through the roads, and there's very few roads that lead in and out of this village. Now, getting back to our council here, I believe you're head of the scrutiny committee, Margaret, is that correct?
South Norfolk.
Yeah, yep. South Norfolk Scrutiny Committee, which is fantastic. The Scrutiny Committee in South Norfolk is a special committee set up to scrutinise decisions made by the Cabinet, and it's designed to stop a particular party having too much power in the council. So it's a really powerful position. So we're fortunate to have Margaret on our side in this. So any decisions or policies that are made locally regarding South Norfolk can be scrutinised and can be questioned. Now, there are some things that were said in an election pledge in 2007, Margaret, when you came to power. One of those things was, we will preserve the character of our market towns and villages. Yeah. We are committed to protecting what makes South Norfolk special, and will enshrine in this new local plan by resisting inappropriate and overwhelming city-style developments in the countryside. That's one of the pledges. We'll put our environment first in everything we do. With better planning, a focus on clean streets, boosting recycling and reducing energy use, we will put our environment first for today and tomorrow. One of the other things mentioned in that election pledge from our council is that South Norfolk Liberal Democrats have forced urban housing densities on rural villages. Thoughtless overdevelopment that's unbalanced the whole community. Our planning processes, our planning policies will resist city-based targets and protect the fragile nature of our market towns and villages. We will ask every parish to do their bit. Every parish needs to do their bit to help the young and get a roof over their head. So we'll ask each community to tell us where 2 or 3 new low-cost homes for rent could be built for the people in their parish. And then streamline the bureaucracy to ensure that it doesn't get in the way. So 900 homes. Are we all producing that much? Do we really need 900 homes? I don't think so. No. The local plan, this is all on the web. The local plan to protect your quality of life. Conservatives will resist urban housing densities in our market towns and villages. We will protect our rural villages. We will address the big planning issues over overdevelopment and resist proposed changes to the Norwich policy area that threaten to swamp villages close to Norwich with even more intensive housing development, where infrastructure is already under pressure. So I'm interested to hear what your stance is as our elected district councillor. Easton has 1,200 people in the village. We are the biggest village in the whole of the district council area. We have a massive vote. Now, I believe that this is all to do with the new homes bonus, and I'd appreciate if you could answer this question. But anyone know about the new homes bonus? No. Right. The new homes bonus is a government scheme. The housing facts, as I understand, the numbers have been scrapped. They don't exist anymore. However, there is a scheme to financially reward councils under a new homes bonus. Essentially, if you make land available for new homes as a council, you will be rewarded financially for every single house for 6 years. Strangely enough, South Norfolk has a higher return on the new homes bonus than almost anywhere in East Anglia, doesn't it, Margaret?
It's very
good. It does, yeah. We're very lucky. We get housing developed everywhere. We're extremely fortunate. Now then, so I'm really interested to hear what your stance is on our development here. So then, £350 on average is paid for every house that's built. The criteria is, of course, that the local authority have to allow this land to be available for development. It's the local authority that say yes or no whether or not the development takes place. That's it. It's not planning, it's not roads, it's not that. It's a local authority who will say yes or no. Our development alone will bring the South Norfolk District Council millions over the years, absolute millions. The money that's raised doesn't have to go back on housing. It can go on anything. So, does anyone need a bypass or anything like that? June 3rd, 2013. The Committee of Public Accounts. Present was our MP, Mr. Richard Bacon. Then he acknowledged that South Norfolk has had its fair share. In fact, it was mentioned in the minutes, this is all online, it was mentioned in the minutes that South Norfolk has taken so much money that it's almost detrimental to other parts of the country who haven't had the finance return. Mr. Bacon said, whilst we are on the subject of my district, it's very obvious that in the map that South Norfolk District does much better in terms of bonus allocations per household than any of the others in that part of East Anglia, in Norfolk or Suffolk. It's by far the darkest chunk, meaning we get the most. Before the chair gets away, we describe my consistency as a land of milk and honey, obviously has many redeeming features, but it's still a needy area and lots of low-income employment. Am I right in saying that the result of this map depends upon applications received from the local authority, i.e. applications for housing? In other words, you will have a chance of being higher up the list to receive finance with a higher number of bonus allocations per household if the local authority has caused there to be a lot of extra housing. Essentially, it is locally driven. So Bob Kerslake, absolutely, I'm glad you raised this. This has nothing to do with housing requirements, in my opinion. I think it's more to do with the new homes bonus. The money generated by the South Norfolk District Council in respect of this is millions. Within a few miles of this village hall, there are 100 houses for sale and for rent, starting from £50,000 or £300 per calendar month for rent. There is one person in this room, in my opinion, who can help us. That's Margaret over there. And she's our district councillor, the Norfolk councillor. So, Margaret, as a resident of Easton, I'm interested to hear what your stance is as our elected district councillor. Thank you very much.
I wish you'd send. Sorry, have I got? Right. Don't wave around. Yes. Now, I wish you'd sent me the questions because I don't know the answers. I mean, you started off with from 2007 with our manifesto, and certainly coming up to district council elections in May, our manifesto is much the same about protecting the market towns and everything. So there's not a lot changing there. But I can't remember the wording because I've only seen rough. I think you said. Oh, right, only a rough draft. I can't remember. If you give me those questions, I will go away and get the answers. Now, the new homes bonus, I'm pretty certain it doesn't all come to South Norfolk, and then a certain proportion goes to the county council. I know certainly what is now called CIL, Community Infrastructure Levy, will go towards the roads and like the junctions and things like that. So I know there's a proportion goes to that.
I did email you, Margaret, actually 5 days ago, a question which you never got back to me.
Oh, yeah, so I've got a list of people who've emailed me that will get answers. I've been at County Council all day with our budget meeting from 9 till 4:30, so I thought I was going to do that today. You will get an answer. So have you got those questions on my email?
I can email them to you. I have emailed you already 5 days ago. But,
right, yeah. So I will get the answers to that. I can't tell you that, I haven't written them down, but as long as you give me the questions, I will get you the answers. Certainly, South Norfolk is proud of the amount of housing we produce because we haven't got that many people on the housing list because we've managed to provide a lot of affordable housing, and that's what we're proud of. But
does that mean we won't need so many social housing in our development of 900 then?
I think that's all part of it. But if you give me the questions, I will get the answers and get them back to you.
What is your stance, Margaret?
My stance.
What is your stance on our development? What is your opinion?
My personal opinion, as I was telling you earlier, if you'd come forward, this has started about 6 years ago, and we've had displays here. No, but can I just say, so we've had displays here, and we've seen the numbers of people who've come through, and there hasn't been a lot of objection, because I will support whatever you were looking for. But so there hasn't been a lot of objection to the numbers of houses, and people didn't say much about the roads, but I was concerned about the roads, and so I've been concentrating on trying to do something about that, because I thought sooner or later you're not going to be able to escape because you're going to be stuck in here as the houses are built. So my concern has been the roads, but when this goes to development, as long as you tell me what you want me to say, I am there to represent you and I can say it. But the objections have to be planning objections. They can't be so many hundred people don't want this, because that's not a planning objection. There have to be reasons, proper planning reasons, for not having it when we've got to this stage.
What about Crested News?
Yeah. You're going to find a few, are you? Put them out there. Yeah. Yeah. Margaret.
Margaret, can I just ask you, you say about 5 years ago you brought it to everybody's attention.
Well, there've been South Norfolk displays
but
here.
we were told by the parish council not to get excited about all this planning and all this proposed planning until that went to planning. This is why we're here.
Right.
This is why we're here.
So when
nobody gave us information before. We were told, hang in there till that goes to planning and then you can respond. So that's why we didn't do it.
He asked you a specific question. He did not give you a specific answer.
I will try now. I'm not very political, so you'll have to ask the questions again, and if I don't know the answer. No.
It's not a different thing to just support what we decide here and don't believe in it,
Yes.
from believing it and then try to support that. So, he asked you your personal opinion on the issue. Can you please tell us your personal opinion on the issue as a human being? What do you believe?
My understanding was... There are a lot of houses. My understanding was that the housing was wanted or acceptable by the village because you were going to get the new village hall and the playground. My understanding was that was you were happy to accept the extra housing because of that was what was coming this summer.
Were you misled by the parish council? Because we have never been asked yet whether we want a new village hall. We've done this one up. If they misled you...
Are you saying that this village hall is big enough now then, Margaret?
It's quite big enough at the moment.
No, it isn't. People can't sit down.
Yeah, well, that's
Sorry, I'm quite happy. If you send me the questions, I'm quite happy to answer you. Yes.
Do you mind?
No. Yeah. I'm quite happy, and I'm quite happy to represent your views at the planning development.
So Margaret, you've heard the views. You've heard the views of what most people want.
Yeah.
So what is your stance? And what are you going to do for us? You are our elected council representative. What are you going to do for the village of Easton to try and sort this planning issue out?
So you're not worried about the roads. You're only interested in the number of houses.
No.
What we're saying is we don't support the application.
You don't support the application? No. I can go along.
At all. This is no time to
I will go and say yes.
Yes, the infrastructure is massive issues. You can't, like you say, these things on infrastructure take time.
Yeah.
So does schools being built, so does health service. But when it comes down to putting a load of housing developments in, they take no time at all. Don't get solved until you've got accidents, and then we'll do something, or we've got people who can't get into Queen's Hill schools, then we might do something like that. There's no forward thinking. It's not time to sit on the fence.
No, I will go, if you want the infrastructure first, I will go to the development.
These people do not want it.
Okay.
That's what we want you to believe. In your heart, you do not want it also.
I can go and say that. I don't know how much it could be reduced by, but I can say that.
It's a feeling.
Can we not all show it?
No, I will support what you want. And until now, I don't want anything.
I think it's very clear.
Let me get this right. So, whereas across the board, the smaller villages have had 10 to 20 houses, because people who've grown up in villages want housing of some sort for their children. So you're saying nothing at all?
Few houses are a bit different from 900.
No. So I need to know exactly what you think you're. None, because your children will be expecting some houses. People will be expecting to move this way for jobs. I need this. In this. Hang on. There is a document, the Greater Norwich Development Partnership, which says as these developments come through, how many extra classrooms the schools will need, how the Anglian Water will need to extend, how the roads will have to be changed, how many extra GPs and dentists. It's all in this document. It's all been worked out.
That document, you're saying, if we have 900 houses, right?
Yeah.
Even 3 children per house, that's 2,700 kids.